Well, we're back. Let's move this pickup out of the way. I had a good question on these pins, kind of as far as what I was doing, the materials I was using, like the pad and the concrete. So I just want to go ahead and answer it real quick. It's Floyd Farms that asked it. And I know you talked about hiring like a welder. I don't know if you can weld yourself, but I mean, I'm not using anything fancy. I just got a Lincoln Electric and a medium cutting torch, a medium Victor torch, like nothing special at all. As far as the pins, I mean, if you can stick it together, you don't need to hire a welder. The building, you need to be able to weld a little bit better than that, looking like a turkey relieved itself all over it. Like you need to be at least mildly proficient with a welder. But as far as the rest of it, this alleyway, so this is all 3-inch pipe. You can get by with 2 7/8. There's nothing wrong with using 2 7/8. I went with 3-inch. I could have used 2 7/8. This is all 7/8 sucker rod. It does the job. And right now, if that continuous fencing hadn't gotten so expensive, I would say go that route. But this stuff is probably $8 a stick if you can find it. Reasonable. It's $8 a stick. This is the problem with it though. Is all the sucker rod is magnetized, so your welds will snap really easy. And I should know this. I think if you just flip your welder to run in DC, I think instead of AC, which is what I welded all this up as, then your welds won't snap as easily. I think they'll still snap, but not as easily as it does if it's run through alternating current. If someone knows in the comments, just please correct me, because I haven't messed with it, but that's my understanding. I've been wanting to try doing that. I just haven't. My top rail is all 2 3/8, and so are my upright post. If you're gonna buy this stuff, you can get anywhere from 80 cents to, I think the high end is like $1.35, which is outrageous. Make sure it is not lined. That's the biggest thing. This is all used pipe. Just make sure it's not lined, because that is a nightmare. We had like a semi load of that crap. We finally got it all used up. Like I said, this is all 3-inch. You can go 2 7/8. And I spliced a lot of this stuff together, because 3-inch is expensive. I think it's like $3 a foot. Maybe it's like $2.45, somewhere in there. It's not cheap. I don't know what 2 7 is. I think it's maybe $1.50, maybe $1.25 a foot. Like I said, currently going this route with like a 2 7/8 pipe, 2 3/8 line post, a 2 3/8 top rail. And you do need to run a top rail if you're going to run sucker rod, because there's no structure to sucker rod. All its strength is, with the rod. So it has no strength that way. It's so if you don't run a top rail, then those posts can move. So you got to run a top rail. With the price of continuous fencing, I think this is actually cheaper again to run it like this, because there for a while when continuous fencing was like $60 a joint, it was cheaper to run continuous fencing, but I don't think it is anymore. Now it's like 120. It's outrageous. This is where I would say, like, I did all of these 2 3/8, which is fine. I honestly haven't had any trouble. I've always kind of been concerned that I should have gone 2 7/8 on my line post, but I'm going to tell you, I have not had any trouble with it. I do put in lots of overheads. These fences do have a little wiggle to them, but if you have good overheads, I mean, you can have a full-grown cow just break your nose on it, and it's not going to go anywhere. The other thing I will say, if you're going to use the sucker rod, which by all, if you can get it, if this is the cheapest route, go the cheapest route. Buy these clips. They sell them pretty much any welder supply. Go ahead and weld all your sucker rod, and you can come back in and clip everything. That's what we did. So like you can see that weld is broke right there. But with that deal in there, it's not going to go anywhere. We did that on all of these fences, this main sorting alley, because we're always having stuff brush these fences and run into them. That's just the way to go. Like these pins here, we'll do it in these pins. I'll make my hired guy do it, so he gets better with welding. This post should have been heavier, but I had it, and since this isn't really like a high pressure area, I should have gone. I didn't want to cut up a 2 and 3-inch post for just this little area, but I should have. Coming into the barn, in a processing barn, there's not a lot of weight. I have a hydraulic leak, I noticed. Oh, looks like it's my hose here. O-ring probably went out of it. There's not a lot of weight on this concrete, so you can get by with a really thin floor. I believe, I don't think this one's, I'll find out. I got to drill pads into it for all my posts, but you can get by with a 4-inch floor with no issues. I mean, yeah, this one has rebar in it. I was getting ready to say, I don't think this one has rebar in it. You don't have to run rebar. You can run polyfiber, which this one has polyfiber in it. It's honestly, it's pretty good stuff. You don't have to run rebar. I think we did in this one. The thing about these floors, we're not driving over this thing, so it does not have to be a thick floor. If you're concerned about tornadoes or random crap like that, well then, wherever you're going to put your post, dig down with your postal digger, and you can pour you a pier there. So, it'd just be like, and you can do it that way. You can actually set your post in the ground and then pour your floor, and that way you have a continuous deal. And you can do that. That barn is built well, we didn't pour a floor in that one, but all those posts are set pretty far down in concrete. And then I just poured a little stem wall around everything. Our commodity barn back there is a 6-inch floor with plates. I just put plates in and welded to that, and it's been fine. So you really don't have to go overkill, especially on a processing barn. You're just not going to have the issue there. As far as the materials on it, we're just going to use 4-inch post. I think they're 4-inch. I'd have to go look at all this stuff sitting by the road. 3/16, and then just I-beam. I'll make a video on it as we put it up, and that'll give you kind of an idea. And then just C-channel for the walls and Z iron for the purlins, which I have some of that over here. But you don't have to get real wild on these things, and they work just fine. But that's what I do on my fences. You know, they're not perfect. That fence, those fences are just about perfect. There's one post in there that's off on that alleyway, which is aggravating. I don't know what happened. We were kind of in a hurry to build these fences here, and so I'm not happy with them there. And there wasn't anything to go off of because we already had a fence in here, and so these ones got out of line. This one's got a little hoop to it, but the thing about it is, it doesn't bother me. Like, it just doesn't bother me that bad. If you're one of those kind of people that really bothers, then take your time. But if not, just get them done. And it's really just that section there. I think we just got off on a couple posts. So this is what we're going to use for the walls in our processing barn to screw our tin to. Just 3-inch. It's 3-inch C-iron. And then this will be what we use for our roof, is this Z-purlin. It just makes a Z. And we just put that on top of our I-beam. So it'll be like that, except for we're actually gonna have a peak in it. We're not gonna do a monoslope on it. It'll be a peaked roof. That way all the smoke goes to the center of it, and I'll have some fans up in the top, and they'll pull that smoke out of there. And this will be kind of like the post, except for it'll be thicker than that. It'll be 3/16. That's just all 3-inch pipe and 2 3/8. I mean, it works. This makes a good top rail. It makes okay post. I've never had one bend, so I don't think you have to go any heavier. You can, but if you're gonna do it yourself, you know, you can save a lot of money doing it yourself. Nobody picks anything up. You can save a tremendous amount of money doing things yourself. Like these pins, if I was to hire a welder, you know, your welders are going to be $60, $70 an hour. And I mean, we've spent hours in these pins. So you can honestly figure the cost of, you take your materials and double them. And that's going to be a minimum of what you're going to spend, if not more, if you hire someone to do it. Especially once you start getting into buildings. You start getting into buildings, and that gets expensive. So, but at least where we are, the one thing I'll say is in New Mexico, like, we have pretty strict building codes, but since we're on a ranch, we don't have to pull a permit on the actual framework of the building or the concrete. You do have to pull a permit on your electrical, and I believe you have to at least pull a permit on your electrical. I don't know if you have to do it on your plumbing. I don't think you have to do it on your plumbing. That being said, I say that it's all easy to do. I'm not a contractor. I've been around construction. My dad's a contractor. He has his construction license and he has his plumbing license. So, I mean, I've been around quite a few construction jobs. So there is a little bit of picked up knowledge from that. But you don't need that knowledge for building pins. It is nice when you're building barns. It makes them much quicker and faster. But for your pins, if you can do it yourself, just do it yourself. So anyways, I'm ending my day. And with that, I'll end the video. So I will catch you all on the next one.